And part 2 of Shift
Is Darwin's
34.
theory correct or not? You have to ask the preliminary question, is it clear enough so that it could be correct?
Thanks for joining me, folks, once again.
Prevailing doctrines about Darwin.
The final shifts of the worldwide paradigm shift
A
show.
room full of smoke.
Only on
nothing
YouTube.
in the theory is precisely, clearly, carefully defined and delineated. It lacks all of the rigor one expects from mathematical physics, and mathematical physics lacks all the rigor one expects from mathematics. So we're talking about a gradual descent down the level of intelligibility until we reach evolutionary biology. We don't even know what a species is, for heaven's sakes.
So his theory is smoke, but elegant smoke.
There's a certain elegance to it, but I think Einstein had the appropriate remark. He preferred to leave elegance to his tailor.
A room full of smoke? That certainly wasn't what I was hearing from prominent Darwinists like Richard Dawkins.
Evolution is a fact. It's a fact which is established as securely as essentially any other fact that we have in science.
Richard Dawkins is so confident.
Listen to this vampire.
And that therefore God doesn't exist, that he has devoted his entire life to spreading the evolution gospel.
I'm an atheist with respect to the Judeo-Christian God because there is not a shred of evidence in favor of the Judeo-Christian God. It is completely right to say that since the evidence for evolution is so absolutely, totally overwhelming.
One thing that is true in this program is that you and I created gods. This is what you see when you look throughout the history of Egypt.
The people I spoke with weren't ignorant. They were highly credentialed scientists.
That's very true. There is no God. But this man doesn't want you to understand the implications of
well, again, evolution is a slippery word.
Realizing what a program
but Darwin didn't write a book
that you, a spirit, created.
Species change over time. He wrote a book called The Origin of Species. He purported to show
and literally all of the processes, the electromagnetic processes that exist
and
here.
the evidence for that grand claim is, in my opinion, almost totally lacking.
How does Darwin
He does not want you to know
life began?
what it means for you to realize that this is a program you're in. And it's a program that is controlled by the melanated man and woman's conscious crystal radio frequency.
Well, a grand overarching evolutionary story, of course, does include the origin of life. But Darwin's theory doesn't begin until you have the first cell.
And that's why religion is not desirable. Because it's your radio frequency that controls all the movements upon this planet or in this Matrix program.
Directed me toward this documentary.
The chemical elements essential for life, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, were now in place. What was needed was a way of combining them.
All of the electromagnetic manifestations.
The energy came from lightning.
Lightning.
It was.
Excuse me?
Whatever it was, energy managed to arrange these chemical ingredients in just the right way.
Whatever it was? I was hoping for something a little more scientific. The most popular idea has been that life emerged spontaneously from primordial soup. In 1953, Stanley Miller mixed water, methane, ammonia, and
It's a conspiracy to hide the fact that all things that we are dealing with under the control of these 5 sensory aware counterbalancing fail-safe protocol radio frequencies
serious scientists abandon this approach in favor of alternate theories.
were magnetically manifested out of the mind of the Negro people.
How did we get
Us, the melanated ones.
world to the world of the cell?
Well, one popular
The creators of the Matrix.
started off on the backs of crystals. Molecules piggybacked on the back of crystals forming, and that this led to more and more complex. But of course, the nice thing about crystals is every now and then you get mistakes.
mutations.
The more we know about religion, the more we'd have to go back to the melanated mind, because your mind created all religions, all physical forms, even the earth. So we cannot talk about religion or an evolutionary electrochemical magnetic program.
Yes, well, I've told you.
I think it's on the back of crystals. On the backs of crystals.
Of the backs of crystals is at least one hypothesis, yes.
So that's your theory, and you think that is more likely and less far-fetched than intelligent design?
I think it is.
I wouldn't put Ben's.
And this program, once again, brought to you by the High Council of the Order of the Crystal Keys. Our venerable trump cards in these very unstable and last of days for only the unconscious. Enjoy the show, please.
Then I think it's almost inconceivable that life could have happened in some simple step-by-step way.
Okay, so the simplest form of life requires at least 250 proteins to function. What's so difficult about that?
Welcome to the Casino of Life. Who wants to spin for a chance to win?
Oh, sure. I'll give it a shot. What do I win?
Take a look at this.
How about the world's first single-cell organism? This perfectly aligned string of proteins could be yours.
Now, take a spin.
I won.
Tina, tell him how many times he needs to do that to win the prize.
250.
That's right, folks, and all in the correct order.
But that's impossible.
We've heard that before, haven't we, Richard?
Come on, Mother Nature, do your thing.
You stupid machine. I hate you.
We're talking about something that's staggeringly improbable. Roughly 1 in a trillion, 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 trillion.
Let all of life choose a million, a trillion, a trillion, trillion. The number is essentially zero. Something has to skew nature to choose the ones that work.
So, in the game of life, it looks as if the house always wins. Luckily, some serious scientific minds have figured out a way to beat the odds. When faced with the overwhelming problem of the origin of life, Nobel Prize winner Francis Crick proposed this theory, that life was seeded on Earth, which basically means aliens did it. Crystals? Aliens?
Yes, folks, you can always count on the
science fiction.
Processes of your electromagnetic rebalancing odyssey to be studded with a lot of truth and a lot of lies. So, when they throw in the aliens, and they throw in the knowledge on the crystals,
Very fundamental and basic and important question.
So the rules of
these are
science
spins
consider any possibility except
to keep you
one.
confused.
Exactly.
But what is a cell? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
They give you a little bit without giving you the whole thing.
Species in 1859.
They give you the micro and not the macro.
A cell as being quite simple, correct?
Yeah, everybody did.
They give you live and die, and then you're gone. And keep away from you the fact that you are in your own electrochemical, magnetic, immortal life support, creation, genetic, evolutionary program.
What do we now know that a cell is?
More complicated.
I want to thank you all again for joining me. And enjoy the show. There's an awesome clip coming right up here.
That Darwin never could have imagined.
I needed someone who could give me a glimpse into this world.
This is quite
So
amazing.
we went to molecular biologist Doug Ash.
There's no way in the world
A nano
that what you're about to see
on a very small scale, digital instructions are being used to make the components of the factory.
just popped out of mud.
Here we have the famous DNA double helix. You can see the two helical strands that are intertwined and wind around each other on the outside of the molecule. This is the material that stores all of our genetic information.
This beautiful machine here, it didn't come out of, say, I didn't come out of mud.
In the molecule molecules.
Did your baby?
Individual
Did your baby come out of mud?
all packed within
No.
nucleus, which
No,
is a
Daddy.
tiny fraction of the entire cell size. So what does DNA do?
Enjoy the show.
Well, the information in DNA ends up providing the information for sequencing the amino acids to make protein. We have information in a one-dimensional form that provides the information for a three-dimensional form.
I'm finally just beginning to grasp the complexity of the cell. Are there systems within the cell that go well beyond Darwinian evolution? Some type of cellular technology that drives adaptation, replication, quality control, and repair? What if these new mechanisms have massive design implications? Well, I say, so be it.
The cell really is like nothing we've ever seen in the physical world. That's got to be firmly grasped. That's not something we can just say, oh, well, it's just a little bit more of the same old, same old. It's not the same old, same old.
We are finding is that there's information that's in the cell that cannot be accounted for in terms of these undirected material causes. So there's, and so there's some other, so there has to be an information source.
So one of the key questions faced by modern biology is, where do you get information from?
Consciousness.
Assumed that the increase in
It's the place all electrochemical information comes from.
But natural selection reduces genetic information, and we know this from all the genetic population studies that we have. And where is the new genetic information going to come from?
All of this pre-programmed electrochemical and genetic information is downloaded into this program.
We need engineering principles to understand these systems. Okay? I mean, it's only because of our advancements in nanotechnology that we can even begin to appreciate these systems.
But using intelligent design didn't seem to stop the scientists I spoke with, so why all the controversy?
Suppose we find, simply as a matter of fact, that our scientific inquiries point in one direction.
Which is that there's an intelligent creator.
Why should we eliminate that from discussion? Streng verboten? How come? Why?
Streng verboten. Very good. What does streng verboten mean? Strongly forbidden.
Strongly forbidden.
We've got two possible hypotheses. You've got a wall.
Why would someone want to hide the reality of intelligent design
are permissible
from the masses?
What about academic freedom?
Why, African man and woman? Because it is your mind that brought forth everything, and literally, while being magnetically misaligned, sustains your own destruction and the planet's soon destruction as well. It's time to align.
How would he do it? Science isn't a hobby.
We are almost out of time.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if you want a piece of the pie, you've got to be a good comrade.
Scientific ideas. How we get them to you, the people. Every idea must be inspected to ensure that it is safe. All theories must pass through a series of checkpoints. First, the Academy.
Getting a controversial theory through the Academy can be dangerous. Few people know this better than Congressman Mark Sauer. He uncovered a targeted campaign led by individuals within the Smithsonian and the National Center for Science Education to destroy Dr. Sternberg's credibility.
If you want peer reviews, if you want to be published, if you want to go to respected institutions, the core view does not tolerate dissent. There's kind of this is the way it is, and anybody who's a dissenter should be squashed.
Are you gonna be on my side if I let you up?
Sure, Chick, sure. I'm on your side. Just let me up. I'll do anything you say.
Souder isn't the only one who has witnessed the Academy's tactics. Journalist Larry Witham has seen similar behavior during his 25 years of covering the evolution controversy.
Once you're thick in science, you can't question the paradigm. But if you want to get grants, if you want to be elected to high positions, if you want to get awards as a promoter of public education of science, you can't question the paradigm.
People cannot be trusted to form their own opinions. This business about open mind.
And that is why they want to sustain the shift.
Scientific establishments.
If you question the paradigm, you will be trying to destabilize the magnetic shift that took place
Closely scrutinized, there's going to be an unraveling.
a few thousand years ago. There's going to be an unraveling.
I interviewed dozens and dozens of
Oh, you ask him who he is, he'll say, I'm the Wizard of the Matrix, the Wizard of Oz.
They'll speak about
the one lying to you about everything you see, taste, touch, smell, and hear.
In a crisis, but publicly they can't say that.
Keeping a keen eye on the Academy are various watchdog organizations.
Listen to Eugenie Scott of the National Center for Science Education. The NCSE has been at the heart of virtually every evolution controversy over the past 25 years, vigorously defending the Darwinian gospel.
We have had a lot of business, unfortunately, at NCSE in the last few years, because virtually every state in which science education standards has come up for consideration has had a big fight about the coverage of evolution. NCSE was started by a group of scientists and teachers who were very concerned because in the late 70s and early 80s there were a lot of attempts to pass equal time for creation science and evolution laws, and clearly this is something that neither scientists nor teachers liked. It wasn't exactly help the creationists are coming, but it's kind of along those lines. Most scientists just throw up their hands and say, creationists, they drive me crazy, you handle it. We work a lot with science education organizations. The most important group we work with is members of the faith community, because the best kept secret in this controversy is that Catholics and mainstream Protestants are okay on evolution.
Are you sure about that, Eugene?
Okay on evolution.
Liberal Christians have been fighting with conservative Christians for
Liberal and conservative Christians.
That they'll side with anybody against the fundamentalists.
High and low, vibrational,
welcome over.
Five sensory aware, fail-safe protocol, rebalancing, conscious control.
Atheists, but they are desperately wanting to be friendly to mainstream, sensible, religious people. And the way you do that is to tell them that there's no incompatibility between science and religion.
But is there really an incompatibility? Can't we believe in God and Darwin?
Implicit in most evolutionary theory is that either there's no God or God can't have any role in it. So naturally, as many evolutionists will say, it's the strongest engine for atheism.
They called me as a witness.
The reality of God is just an illusion that was created by the melanated races.
Has your study of evolution turned you towards
when the fail-safe protocol counterbalancing radio frequency conscious controls called the Europeans, my brotherhood, our brotherhood came out of our bloodline.
By the way, I'm being
of course,
a lot more frank and honest in this interview than many
they took over the narrative. I may have just lost myself and you, but it's okay. You'll understand everything shortly. Please forgive me, I'm a little tired.
The tendency of the media is to side with the establishment because they inherently agree with the establishment.
Eugenie Scott, my understanding is there is not a single peer-reviewed article out there that supports intelligent design. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. You are correct.
I believe that we get coverage, but we always get coverage like we're the outsider.
Absolutely.
Not like it's an even debate.
But instead of merely reporting,
That's because these sad people are all controlled in the media.
Constantly deal with reporters who refuse even to report the correct definition of intelligent design. They, over and over again, talk about life is so complex, God must have done it.
Just admit it.
You see, they say God must have done it, but then they tell you God doesn't exist. And the truth is, God doesn't exist. But the reality is that the individuals who are magnetically misaligned are the ones who created the God they're talking about doesn't exist. These individuals also allow these lower vibrational, consistently 5 sensory aware radio frequency conscious controls to continue their destructive campaign without any oversight of their light, high vibrational side. Unfortunately, at this moment,
Pamela winning. When she refused to take sides in an article she wrote about intelligent design, the Darwinists found a new favorite target.
Number 1, I wasn't Christian, I was Jewish. Number 2, I wasn't religious. Number 3, I was not taking a position in favor of creationism. I was writing about intelligent design, and it didn't matter. After I wrote that one piece, everything I wrote on the subject was scrutinized. There were hate letters coming into the newspaper. If you give any credence to it whatsoever, which means just writing about it, you are just finished as a journalist.
Other journalists we spoke with told similar stories, but didn't dare appear on camera.
And now, the presses are ready to roll. When all the checkpoints fail, there is always the courts.
We have spent an enormous amount of time trying to prove to the court what everybody already knows, that intelligent design is a particular religious belief.
so we have the justice system, the courts, that are a present enemy of the truth in regards to where we are, who we are, how we exist. We also have the media, and we have the educational institution as enemies against the new state, obviously. And I'm sure these individuals will certainly soon decide to reconsider. And if there isn't any reconsideration, I would hope there is no further destruction to the environment, or there will be repercussions of the high vibrational in all bloodlines just coming to get rid of you a lot sooner than later.
So you are saying that as far as the teaching of science is concerned, Poland is freer academically than the United States.
I think in this particular issue of evolution, I think this is true.
But how effective?
Because the truth is now here, there is a new shift in the paradigm, which means this planet does not belong to you lower vibrational 5 sensory aware anymore.
Cases don't decide anything. If you look at the Scopes trial,
just as my own darkness does not possess and own my function any longer.
And yet, in the popular imagination,
It is my hope that
the hero, Inherit the Wind, that movie,
you will find the same
bogus history based on the
end
Scopes trial has carried the day. These
at the end of your journey
any decision
with your dark side.
The evolution debate does seem to run much deeper than the courts, much deeper even than science. To generate this level of hostility, ID must threaten something at the very core of the Darwinian establishment.
The entire globe is today the site of a momentous...
Once again, the truth of where we are in electrochemical magnetic immortal life support creation matrix genetic evolutionary program threatens the paradigm, the control of so many innocent lives in the human level of life and in the animal kingdom. And it is now being brought to an end. It must be brought to an end.
Has become a religious war. It really is no longer about scientific investigation.
It is total competition, with an antagonist
who is putting into it everything within his capability.
The situation has reached a point where many of evolution's top apologists have switched from defending Darwinism to attacking religion in what they see as a bid to stamp out intelligent design at the source.
And that is the height of their desperation
Recent book,
at this
God
moment.
Delusion, has sold over 1 million copies worldwide.
The God Delusion is my long expected, long worked on, full frontal attack on religion. To me, science is about trying to explain existence, and religion is about trying to explain existence.
Now, folks, I want you to remember, this show is
Dawkins correct?
your choices after this show are going to determine the fate of our planet. You must make the best choice. I'm giving you all the knowledge you need.
Oxford professor Alistair McGrath,
please use discernment.
The Dawkins delusion, seemed like the ideal person to answer my question.
Richard Dawkins has a charm and very, I think,
our planet doesn't deserve to be controlled by these mongrels. This matrix is ours.
It's a very naive view. It's
once again
on a complete historical misrepresentation of the way science and religion have interacted. Dawkins seems to think of a scientific description.
And although the melanated frequency is the frequency that must come together and be aligned above all others, all other bloodlines who raise to the stand to the challenge of being high vibrational and third eye open. You are just as valuable, and the planet will receive you no differently. I wish all of you well in your choices. And to all of you people who take me as a joke, to all of you people who think you know me and you've grown up with me so that you can, you feel that you can make judgments upon me without even understanding your own damn mind. You're telling me what's going on in mine. And you believe you're going to control this level of awareness with your ignorance and your bravity and your attempting to be tough. I want you to know
explanations of the evidence. One says design, one says undirected processes.
That you don't bother me a bit.
Philosophical or religious or anti-religious.
And you may want to
so you can't say that one of those two theories is
deal with me very cautiously.
And the other is unscientific.
And I'll leave it at that.
Both have implications.
People who tell you, for example, that science tells you all you need to know about the world, or that science tells you that religion is all wrong, or science tells you there is no God, those people aren't telling you scientific things. They are saying metaphysical things. And they have to defend their positions.
You don't like what I'm saying?
What is being presented
because I'm smarter than you.
First comes the science.
And that's not my fault, it's yours.
The worldview. I would want to argue that may not
you like the mirror too much.
Be the other way around. That
you like living out of order too much.
Influencing the interpretation of science.
You like being coerced too much.
So deeply entrenched in our own worldviews.
And that's your own damn problem.
Countenance alternatives.
Because the consequences are in the air you're breathing too.
And not even particularly religious.
Homeboys and girls.
And I think it's sending a very bad message to religious people who are interested in science. That in some sense, in order to do science credibly, they have to leave their religious beliefs at the door.
The founders of early modern science, Sir Isaac Newton, Robert Boyle, Johannes Kepler, Galileo, most of these early scientists all not only believed in God, but they thought their belief in God actually made it easier to do science.
You can be religiously motivated and you can do good science. And they have more often gone together than not gone together.
Admitting our biases is the best way towards rational discussion, which I would welcome.
Rational debate is a nice thought, but it's nearly impossible in the current climate. I've seen the chilling effect that this unquestioned...
And at this moment, folks, we don't have any time to sit back trying to ponder if we're going to stand down.
No gods, no
we don't have a choice at this moment but to stand up.
No ultimate meaning in life, and no human free will.
Any man that doesn't, any man and woman that ain't thinking like this coward
You're here today and you're gone tomorrow. And that's all there is to it.
Dr. Will Provine, professor of the history of biology at Cornell University, gave us another disturbing glimpse into where Darwinism can lead.
Oh, I was a Christian, but I never heard anything about evolution because it was illegal to teach it in Tennessee.
Illegal
Dr.
to teach
Provine's first biology professor changed
anything
all
about where you are on this beautiful, beautiful planet
whatsoever.
in this Matrix
And I came
program.
up to him and I said, "You've left out the
Because they're here to destroy
He
it.
said, "If
Their
you
dark
just
side is
at one point,
certainly
I want
here
you
to
stand
destroy
up
it.
in front of the students
And the other bloodlines that have come are also
in evolution." And I read that book
in the same frame of mind. You need to understand this. Across the world, you need to stand up. You don't have to present them with war, but you do have to present them with the knowledge that you're aware. And that right there will ensure that the universe comes to your aid. I can assure you of this.
There's an imminent morality. And finally, there's no human free will. If you believe in evolution, you can't hope for there being any free will. There's no hope
And ensure your victory.
of there being any deep meaning in human life. We live, we die, and we're gone. We're absolutely gone when we die.
Dr. Provine
Victory over that misery.
prospect of death. Nearly a decade ago, he was diagnosed with a large brain tumor.
Let's suppose my tumor comes back, as it almost certainly will.
It's unfortunate so many of you brothers have succumbed to this level of unconsciousness. And it is my hope that by the end of this program, after you've received all of the information necessary to understand where you are and what the electromagnetic processes that control and dominate your thinking and your mind,
Dr. Provine.
it's my hope that you have the willingness to change.
I don't feel one bit bad about it.
Folks, I thank you for joining me here, and I don't know how much longer this program will go on. I think it's only a few more minutes.
Dr. Provine's deep,
but I'm still going to finish the clip if there is a lot more time. So I only think there is a few more minutes. So I think you've gotten enough of this one. Hey, how about we move on to some more action? Wonderful action, mind-blowing action. Here on the Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show. And don't forget, call all of your friends. Because, ladies and gentlemen,
when I discovered evolution,
I can assure you, we're going to flip the paradigm with the following clips. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.
Then that finally killed off my
peace.
Religious faith.
After hearing these stories,